I'm not good enough for any man, sir. But I can love your daughters. The words came out before Gloria could swallow them. The living room of the mansion fell into absolute silence. Billionaire Richard Calloway stared at her as if she had spoken another language. Behind him, two girls watched everything. The older one, with cautious eyes, held the hand of the younger, who had dried tears on her face. 30 seconds earlier, Richard had asked why she wanted the nanny job. All the other candidates had given rehearsed answers. Impeccable resumes. Degrees in child development. References from wealthy Manhattan families. Elegant bodies in designer suits. Gloria had a maid's uniform that was too tight and hands calloused from scrubbing floors. The employment agency sent her by mistake. She was there to clean the house after the interviews, not to participate in them. But when she saw those two girls, the older one pretending to be strong, the younger one trembling with fear, something inside her broke. Gloria knew that look. She had seen it in the mirror for years. "Excuse me." Richard's voice was ice. "Did you just say you're not good enough for any man?" Gloria, the dark-skinned black maid with a large body, felt her face burn. At 34 years old, she had already learned that certain truths shouldn't be spoken out loud. Especially not to white billionaires in Connecticut mansions. She knew the looks. The whispers behind her back. Too heavy. Too big. Who would want that? She had heard these words her whole life. From the father who abandoned her. From the boys at school. From the only man she thought loved her, until he laughed in her face and left with someone else. But she had already started. She couldn't stop now. "I meant that I'm not here looking for anything other than caring for your daughters, sir. I have no interest in romance. I have no interest in your money beyond my salary. I only have interest in them." She pointed at the girls. "Because I know what it's like to lose a mother. And I know what it's like to need someone who stays." The silence stretched. Richard Calloway was known for two things: building a technology empire from scratch and destroying anyone who wasted his time. His wife had died 6 months ago. Cancer. Quick and cruel. Since then, 7 nannies had passed through that house. None lasted more than 3 weeks. "You have no qualifications," Richard said coldly. "No experience with children. No references. I have something better." "What?" Gloria looked directly at the girls. "I have time. I have patience. And I won't leave when it gets hard." The little younger girl let go of her sister's hand and took a step forward. "Daddy," she said in a small voice, "she has kind eyes. Just like Mommy's." Richard closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, something had changed. "1 week," he said. "You have 1 week to prove you're not wasting my time." Gloria nodded. What Richard Calloway didn't know, what no one in that room knew, was that Gloria wasn't there by accident. And the two girls in front of her had a connection to her much deeper than anyone could imagine. The first week was a silent battlefield. Emma, the oldest, was 9 years old with eyes that saw too much. She watched Gloria like a hawk, waiting for the moment when the fat maid would leave like all the others. Lily, the youngest, was 5 years old and hadn't spoken since her mother's death. 6 months without a word. Not daddy. Not please. Nothing. Gloria discovered this on the first day, when she tried to ask Lily what she wanted for breakfast. The girl just pointed at the cereal, her eyes empty. "She doesn't talk," Emma said coldly. "She stopped when Mom died. The doctors say it's trauma." Gloria felt her chest tighten. She knew that silence. She had lived it. At 8 years old, when her own mother died giving birth to her sister, Gloria also stopped talking. It was 2 years of mutism. 2 years of pain too big to fit into words. But she didn't tell anyone that. Not yet. The following days were observation. Gloria didn't force anything. Didn't try hugs. Didn't try animated conversations. She just existed in the same space as the girls, quiet and constant. She prepared their favorite meals, mac and cheese for Emma, strawberry pancakes for Lily. She discovered this by searching through the pantry and finding old notes in the mother's handwriting. "Sarah's recipes," said the worn notebook. Gloria cooked exactly as the recipes instructed. Without changing anything. Without adding her own touch. She wanted the girls to feel their mother in every bite. On the fourth night, Emma appeared in the kitchen while Gloria was washing dishes. "You found her notebook," the girl said, her voice accusatory. "I did." "It's not yours." "I know. It's yours." Emma was silent for a moment. The other nannies tried to change the recipes. They said they knew how to do it better. "I don't know how to do better than your mother. I only know how to do the same." Something trembled on Emma's face. A tiny crack in the wall she had built. The mac and cheese was similar, the girl admitted. Lily ate everything. She hadn't been eating right for months. Gloria continued washing dishes, hiding her smile. Small victories. On the fifth day, Gloria did something no nanny had done before. She asked to see Sarah's room. Richard looked at her as if she had asked to see secret company documents. "Why?" "Because your daughters need to feel that their mother is still present. And I can't do that if I don't know who she was." Richard hesitated for a long moment. Then, without saying anything, he went upstairs. Gloria followed him. The room was untouched. Clothes in the closet. Perfume on the vanity. Books stacked on the nightstand. And photos. Dozens of photos. Sarah with the girls at the beach. Sarah blowing out birthday candles. Sarah pregnant, smiling, her hand on her belly. Gloria stopped in front of a specific photo. Sarah in a hospital, holding a newborn baby. But it wasn't Emma or Lily. The baby in the photo had dark skin. Gloria felt the world spin. "This photo," she said with a trembling voice. "Who is this baby?" Richard looked. His face hardened. That was a long time ago. Before the girls. Sarah worked as a volunteer at a shelter for teenage mothers. He paused. She helped a young girl give birth. A 16-year-old who had no one. Gloria couldn't breathe. What happened to the baby? She was adopted. Sarah wanted to keep her, but at the time we couldn't. I was starting the company. We didn't have the structure. His voice carried an old weight. Sarah never got over it. She would talk about that child sometimes. Imagined how she was doing. Gloria looked at the photo again. The baby in the image had a birthmark on her left wrist. A crescent moon-shaped spot. Exactly like the mark Gloria had on her own wrist. Her eyes filled with tears, but she swallowed them. Not yet. It wasn't time yet. That night, Gloria called her adoptive mother. "Mama," she said in a low voice, "I found her. I found the woman who brought me into the world. I found the family she built." On the other end of the line, silence. "Gloria, my daughter, are you sure?" "The birthmark, Mama. The photo. Everything matches. The woman who helped my biological mother give birth to me was his wife. It was Sarah Calloway." "And now? What are you going to do?" Gloria looked at the silent mansion. "I'm going to do what she would have done. I'm going to take care of her daughters as if they were mine." 2 weeks passed. Gloria didn't tell her secret to anyone. She kept the discovery like a dangerous treasure, not knowing what to do with it. Meanwhile, the girls were starting to change. Emma stopped watching Gloria with suspicion. She started asking for help with homework. She started sitting in the kitchen while Gloria cooked, talking about school, about friends, about her mother. "Mom used to braid my hair every Sunday," Emma said one afternoon. "She said it was our special moment." Gloria looked at Emma's blonde hair, loose and tangled. "Can I try?" Emma hesitated, then nodded. Gloria braided slowly, carefully. It wasn't perfect. But Emma smiled when she saw it in the mirror. "It looks like the way she did it," she whispered. Lily watched everything from the doorway. Still silent. But her eyes were no longer empty. The problem arrived at the end of the 3rd week. Gloria was in the garden with the girls when a black car parked at the entrance. A woman got out, blonde, thin, dressed as if she were going to a photo shoot. Victoria Calloway. Richard's sister. Gloria recognized her from the photos in the mansion. Victoria looked Gloria up and down. The tight uniform. The large body. The dark skin. Her lip curled in disgust. "So you're the one," Victoria said. "The maid my brother hired to take care of my nieces." "That's me, yes." "Interesting choice." Victoria walked around Gloria like a shark. I must say I'm concerned. A woman with no qualifications, no references, no adequate presentation. Taking care of the Calloway heiresses. Gloria felt her face burn, but kept her voice calm. The girls are well taken care of. Are they? Victoria crouched down to Emma's height. Sweetheart, has this woman been treating you well? You can tell me the truth. Emma looked at Gloria. Then at her aunt. Miss Gloria is the best nanny we've ever had. Victoria pursed her lips. You're too young to know what's best for you. She stood up and faced Gloria. I'm going to talk to my brother. This situation is unacceptable. That night, Gloria heard the argument through the office door. She has no qualifications at all, Richard. She's a maid. A fat maid who can barely speak properly. The girls are happy, Victoria. For the first time in 6 months. Happy? Emma needs a proper governess. Lily needs specialized therapy, not a domestic worker pretending to be a mother. She's not pretending to be a mother. Then what is she doing? What's her interest? People like that always want something, Richard. Money. Status. Access. Silence. Maybe you should investigate her background, Victoria continued. Find out who she really is. Gloria felt her blood run cold. If they investigated her past, they would discover everything. The adoption. The connection to Sarah. And they would think she was there out of self-interest. They would think she wanted money. They would think everything was a lie. The next day was the worst. Victoria returned with a private detective. She brought documents. Gloria's birth certificate. Adoption records. The file from the shelter where her biological mother, a 16-year-old teenager, had given birth. Look what I found, Victoria said with a triumphant smile. The maid has a very interesting story, Richard. Her mother gave birth at that shelter where Sarah worked. Do you know what this means? Richard looked at the documents. Then at Gloria. Is it true? Gloria felt the tears burning, but didn't let them fall. It is. Did you know? When you came here, did you know Sarah had helped with your birth? Gloria swallowed hard. I found out later. When I saw the photo in the room. The birthmark. She raised her wrist, showing the crescent moon on her dark skin. Sarah held me when I was born. She was the first person to hold me in the world. Victoria laughed. What a touching story. And you want us to believe this is coincidence? That you showed up here by chance? It wasn't coincidence, Gloria admitted. I spent years searching. I wanted to know who the woman was who helped my mother. I wanted to thank her. And conveniently she died and left a billionaire widower. How lucky for you. Victoria, Richard's voice was a warning. No, Richard. Can't you see? She's here for the money. For the inheritance. She probably thinks she can seduce you with this sad story, Anne. I don't want his money. Gloria's voice cut through the air like a blade. Everyone turned. I don't want the money, Gloria repeated, her voice trembling but firm. I don't want the mansion. I don't want any of this. Then what do you want? Richard asked quietly. Gloria looked at the stairs. Emma and Lily were there, watching everything. Emma with wide eyes. Lily gripping the banister tightly. I want to do what Sarah would have done, Gloria said. She gave me to another family because she knew she couldn't raise me. She loved me enough to let me go. Now her daughters need someone. And I can be that someone. Tears were running down her face now, without shame. I'm not good enough for any man. My whole life they told me that. Too big. Too black. Too poor. But I can love these girls. I can take care of them. I can be what they need. The silence in the room was absolute. Then a small voice broke everything. Mama. Everyone turned. Lily was coming down the stairs. The girl who hadn't spoken in 6 months. Mama Glow, Lily repeated, the first word since her mother's death. She ran and hugged Gloria's legs with all the strength of her 5 years. Gloria collapsed to her knees and hugged the girl back, sobbing. Emma ran down and joined the embrace. Richard watched, his eyes moist. Victoria opened her mouth to speak, But no words came out. Because there was no argument that could defeat that. There was no accusation that could erase what everyone had just seen. A broken child had chosen her voice back. And she had used that voice to call Gloria mother. Victoria left that same night. There was no goodbye. There were no apologies. Just the sound of the black car disappearing down the road, taking with it all the poison it had brought. Richard stood on the porch for a long time, staring at nothing. When he finally came inside, he found Gloria in the kitchen making hot chocolate for the girls. Emma was sitting on the counter. Lily was in Gloria's lap, her head resting on her shoulder. The girl who hadn't spoken in 6 months was now humming a song softly. A lullaby that her mother used to sing. Richard stopped at the door watching. "How did you know?" he asked quietly. "How did you know she would speak?" Gloria looked at him. "I didn't know. I just knew she needed time. And someone who wouldn't leave." "You could have left. After everything Victoria said." "I could have." Gloria stroked Lily's hair. "But I promised I would stay. And I don't break promises." Richard sat at the kitchen table. He looked exhausted. He looked relieved. He looked like a man who had finally stopped drowning. "Sarah would have liked you," he said. "She always said that the strongest people are the ones the world tries to break and can't." Gloria felt her eyes sting. "She held me when I was born. She was the first person to hold me in the world." Her voice faltered. "I spent my whole life wanting to thank her. And when I finally found her, she was already gone." Richard was silent for a moment. "Maybe you can still thank her," he said. "By taking care of what she loved most." Gloria looked at Emma and Lily. "That's what I intend to do." The following months were of rebuilding. Gloria didn't move into the master bedroom. She didn't try to take Sarah's place. She stayed in the little room next to the kitchen, with her simple bed and her few things. But everything else changed. Emma started smiling for real. Not polite smiles for adults, but loose childhood laughter. She ran through the garden with Lily, played hide and seek, got her knees dirty with grass. Lily never stopped talking again. The first words became sentences. The sentences became stories. She told about school, about dreams, about the butterfly she saw in the garden. And always, she ended the stories with "Right, Mama Glow." Gloria never asked to be called that. Never suggested it. Lily chose it herself. Emma took longer. She still called Gloria Miss Gloria for a while. Respectful, but distant. Until the day Emma had a nightmare. Gloria heard the scream in the middle of the night and ran to the room. She found Emma sitting on the bed, shaking, tears on her face. "I dreamed you were leaving," the girl sobbed. "That Aunt Victoria came back and took you away." Gloria sat on the bed and hugged Emma tightly. "I'm not going anywhere. Promise. Promise." Emma nestled in Gloria's arms, her large, soft body, and whispered, "I love you, Mama Glow." Gloria cried silently, holding the girl until she fell asleep. A year later, Richard called Gloria for a conversation in the office. She entered nervous, not knowing what to expect. Was he going to fire her? Had Victoria managed to convince him? Richard was sitting behind the desk, but he didn't look like the cold businessman she met on the first day. He looked different, lighter. "Sit down," he said. Gloria sat, her hands sweating. "I have a proposal," Richard said. "And I want you to think carefully before answering." "What proposal?" Richard took a folder from the drawer and placed it on the desk. "Legal adoption. I want you to officially adopt Emma and Lily. As their mother." Gloria felt the air leave her lungs. "What?" "They already call you Mom. You already take care of them like a mother. This would just make official what is already true." "But, what about you?" "I'm still their father. That doesn't change. But if something happens to me, I want to be sure they stay with you. Not with Victoria. Not with strangers. With you." Gloria looked at the documents. Adoption certificate. Her name printed next to Emma's and Lily's names. "Why are you doing this?" she asked, her voice trembling. Richard stood up and walked to the window. "Because Sarah would have done it. She held you on the first day of your life and wanted to keep you. She couldn't. But somehow, you came back. You came back for her daughters. He turned. This isn't coincidence, Gloria. This is destiny. Gloria signed the documents with tears in her eyes. That night, she told the girls. Now I'm officially your mother, Gloria said, holding both their hands. Forever. Lily jumped into her lap. I already knew, the girl said. You were always my mother. You just needed the paper. Emma smiled, that open smile that Gloria had learned to love. Mama Sarah chose you first, Emma said. When you were born. And now we choose you back. Gloria hugged her two daughters. The world had spent her whole life telling her she wasn't good enough. Too big. Too black. Too poor. Not good enough for any man. Not good enough for anything. But those two girls looked at her and saw something different. They saw a mother. And sometimes, being chosen by those you love is worth more than being desired by those who judge you. If this story touched you, remember, your value isn't in what others see. It's in the love you're capable of giving. Sometimes the families we choose are stronger than blood. And sometimes, the person the world rejects is exactly the person someone needs. Subscribe for more stories that prove, never underestimate the power of a heart that insists on loving.